Tonight on Joy News Prime, Volta Region House of Chiefs wades into the publication of material described as offensive to others in some textbooks. It comes even as the Volta Region students threatened to retrieve and destroy the offensive publications.
If in 14 days, our chiefs and our MPs and the stakeholders do not communicate to us as substantive evidence that indeed all the books have been withdrawn from the market and they have been burnt, we will go into shops, we will go and seize the books and burn it.
The company at the center of the controversy has apologized and promised to dismiss the author of the textbook.
We work and we get paid. What we decide to dismiss you, then we will not work with you.
Police in Akachi assure residents they will enforce speed limits on the stretch of Accra-Aflau Road after they blocked the road following a pedestrian knockdown. Attorney General takes aim at public officials who frustrate his work and cause the state judgment debts.
Attorney General will be able to actually sue any officer in any department or ministry or agency who is responsible for judgment debt caused as a result of a failure to cooperate with the Office of Attorney General.
In business, businesses react to tax rebates announced in the 2021 budget. They have a common message: not enough. And economies in West Africa are said to be facing increasing cases of piracy and armed robbery on the high sea.
Understand that the sardine that you buy for 3 cedis today, if we don't do anything about it, next year you buy it at 4 cedis 50 pesos, because they've added the insurance to it, they've added the cost of the petrol.
My name is Israel. Joy News Prime is coming to you live from our Founder Studios at Kokomile here in Accra, on your digital terrestrial TV, because we're free to air, and also on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 144. This is the home of independent, fearless, credible, and impactful journalism. Do stay tuned in. The Volta Region Students Association of Ghana Monday picketed at the Ghana Education Service demanding an immediate recall and destruction of some textbooks widely criticized as containing bigoted information about others. The students have vowed to find and destroy these books if the GES fails to act. The publications, titled History of Ghana Textbook 3 by Bedu Nkansa Publications, authored by Bedu Nkansa and Nelly Martin Singh Enim, and Golden English Basic 4, authored by Ochebefi, have been denounced by the National Council for Curriculum Assessment as not approved for use in schools. Kuku Asante has more in the following report.
Following public uproar about a textbook that has been described as bigoted and putting out negative impression about others, the Volta Region Students Association, VOSA, are demanding action from the Ghana Education Service and the National Council for Curriculum Assessment. Here is Bright Achu Agbechise, a leader of the VOSA delegation that picketed at the GES head office.
Our chiefs and elders have actually intervened and they have asked us to refrain from what we wanted to do today. But we as leadership have decided to take this step. Now, one of the publishers, Bedu Nkansa, actually released a so-called apology letter yesterday. And the fact is that that apology letter is an eyesore to us. Why did I say so? How could you write an apology letter, and in an apology letter you are trying to justify how the books found their ways into the public domain? So they claim that, this is what they claim, that they were working on the books. GES are written to them for them to make some changes. Then they didn't know how the books found its way into the public domain. I don't know how that makes sense to any of you here. If an owner of a book and a publisher who is supposed to actually own whatever content that he has, found his materials in bookshops, and he's making money out of it, and at the end of the day, the person is now telling us that we are going to make what? We are going to conduct investigations into whatever it is. It doesn't make sense. It's that apology is an insult.
According to Deputy National Youth Organizer of the NDC, Eric Edemagbana, who accompanied the students to picket at the Ghana Education Service, there is an attempt by some to change the history of the country.
If in 14 days, our chiefs and our MPs and the stakeholders do not communicate to us a substantive evidence that indeed all the books have been withdrawn from the market and they have been burnt, we will go into shops, we will go and seize the books and burn it. So in 14 days, we can have this conversation again. We, the youth, will not allow anybody to change Ghana's history. What is all this political revisionism is about? What is it? What is the benefit? Why do you want to sow a seed of discord among the people of Ghana? We have lived together. We've lived in boarding houses. We attend the same colleges. We share dormitory with each other. You see my president, he's wearing smock. He's the president of the Volta Students Association, but he's wearing smock because through integration, we've come to accept that the food that we eat, the dresses we wear, and whatever, we are one people. Okay. Why is the government, through some publishers, trying to push some narrative down there? We will not accept it. So we are here to make peace. We are only here to make our petition known.
They also want the publishers of such materials to be penalized.
They have the tendency of creating some level of prejudice in the mind of this student at this young level. And if they grow up with this prejudice, it has the tendency of bringing about national disintegration, which does not augur well for development. And so there's the need for us to come out now and to stop this and to call out these publishers for them to be penalized. Because I've seen a letter from the publishers indicating that the books were not meant for the public domain, and so they cannot tell how come it's got its way into the public space. But it does suggest that they are unable to take responsibility for their work.
The Volta Region Students Association are calling on the Ghana Education Service as well as NACA to immediately get rid of these books in the system. These books that they've cited and are complaining that are portraying a certain image about the people of the Volta region, which is completely erroneous. They are saying that in 14 days, if the Ghana Education Service as well as NACA do not ensure that these books are in no books shops in Ghana, as well as no classrooms or any school, they are going to take certain actions. They are going to enter schools and seize these books, or enter bookshops and seize them and burn them. For these students, there are some lapses in the curriculum approval process which must be dealt with immediately.
These are books, okay, that has content that seeks to paint a particular, picture and impression about a particular group of people, specifically the people of the Volta region, that we are purported to be people who, foster ethnocentric tendencies, people who are inward-looking. That is not the impression, that is not the image of the Voltarian people.
Well, publishers of the materials have apologized and indicated that the authors will be sacked. Makosei speaks for Bedun Cancer Publications.
That's why we have released a statement apologizing on that aspect of the book, especially page 15 of History of Ghana primary series.
So you are apologizing for putting that information in your book?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How did this mistake come about? Who made the mistake?
I think we have spoken to our writers of those books, and we as a company have tried to apologize on that matter.
Yes,
I comment it further.
Yeah,
we do not have any story or any information to justify whatever came out on that.
Right. Now you're the publishers. So when you received the script to publish and you saw this, you thought it was okay to go ahead with it, or did you miss it? Did you not see it at all?
Yeah, this is not a final product. This particular is not a final product. Before the book comes out, we go to a sales project, and we are of the view that before the initial stages, that's why this book came. But it has already been taken off from its final work to take the next action. These sort of things will not come because Bedun Cancer has been in the system for the last 24 years. We have not had issue with any Ghanaian, any section of this country. We believe in unity. So this thing coming out is regrettable.
So what's going to happen to the authors who have brought this this national headache on you?
The company will take appropriate sanctions.
What will the sanctions be? What will you do to them?
That will be at the management level when we meet, and we will communicate that to the public.
Okay, so in such a situation, what are the options of sanctions available to you? What are the...
Yes, I think obviously you work and you get paid. What we decide to dismiss you, then we will not work with you.
Okay, is that what's going to happen? Are you going to dismiss these authors?
Absolutely, we will do that.
Okay.
We will do that.
Right, so the spokesperson of the Bedun Cancer Publications indicated that the authors are going to be sanctioned and dismissed, except one of the authors is actually Bedun Cancer himself. I wonder how that works. Meanwhile, the Volta Region House of Chiefs has also condemned the publications. They issued a statement also demanding the withdrawal of the textbooks. And it reads, the attention of the Volta Region House of Chiefs has been drawn to the content of a book designed for use by lower classes in the current educational structure. Some of the content of the said book, which casts derogatory allusions and innuendos at others, are, to say the least, distasteful and a disgrace to the authors and publishers of the said material, intended to educate the younger generation of this country. We deem it highly reprehensible for those responsible for this offensive publication to harbor such vile thoughts about their fellow citizens of Ghana in the 21st century. We therefore unreservedly condemn this singular demonstration of tribal bigotry and prejudice and call on those responsible for the offensive publication to withdraw same from circulation and to destroy every part of the offending material. We further demand an unqualified apology from the authors and publishers of this base material to be rendered to all other speaking citizens of Ghana. In addition, we urge other ethnic groups in this country to condemn such divisive publications which only serve as a recipe for chaos and disunity. Finally, and in the event that this ill-advised publication is discovered anywhere after our demand for same to be withdrawn from circulation, we hereby serve notice that the chiefs and people of other ethnic origin will take appropriate legal measures to ensure that these mischief makers walk on the right side of the law. And it's signed by Togbe Tafrehodo, the fourth president of the Volta Region House of Chiefs. Well, staying in the Volta region, the main Accra Flower Road was Monday blocked at Akachi by some residents after a boy believed to be about 10 years old and a commercial motorbike operator were knocked down by a saloon vehicle. The boy, according to eyewitnesses, was badly injured. He had to be rushed to the Ho Teaching Hospital. The residents are demanding speed ramps to check speeding on the road.
Commander, you are doing your work 100%. God bless you. But what we need, we need our ramp today. We are needing our ramp today. Commander, you can leave at any time. Opposition is up.
Mama, we are shouting for help. We still receive to come out.
Every day we are having problem here. Accident. People are learning work. We don't have money in this community, and people are suffering to get their own money to work, to learn their work, and they are dying. I don't know the reason why. And there's no ramps here. We have double road here. We have double road. Cars are passing here. And we are facing problem here. So we need ramps.
But what happened last night?
Last night?
Yes.
Some certain woman some certain woman is selling here as a drinking bar, and his son is trying to go and buy drink. And before they go and come, they don't see the drink, but they're coming home. Before they realize, can't pick them from the road. Car can pick them from the road, and we didn't understand. And this is not the first time.
How many times has it happened?
It's happened more than 20 times, more than 30 times. People die here. People die here. A lot of people die here. And we are suffering. The youth are here, and we are suffering for that. We need ramps. We need ramps, simple ramps for here, so that to help the people in the community.
The police managed to restore calm and remove the blockade. Akachi South Municipal Police Commander Chief Superintendent Joseph Achu Jineku assured the police will check speeding until the speed ramps are built.
This afternoon,
the whole place was crowded and the road was blocked by the community. Simple because there was a series of accidents in this area. And there's concerns from the community to the police assembly to support them by creating this sort of speed ramp here. But like the assembly is not giving proper attention to it. So from that, and this afternoon, there's a serious accident. For that matter, you have to go to the road. So I was called and people have to rush here. It's unfortunate I wasn't down at the time, but I rushed to the scene and I read that the whole place was crowded. So I managed to talk to them and they hit my address and they supported us. And now the road is not clear. Now the vehicle has started moving with their various buses. So for now, my men are here. We are going to ensure that we continue the drug patrol aside pass. We are going to do a checkpoint here to slow traffic to enable people to flow so that nobody speed as it used to be.
The DC for Akachi, Lana Nelson at Judoga, is meanwhile urging residents to remain calm as the contractor returns to the site to complete construction of the speed ramps.
These things are happening there at this time because before then it was not used to be accident-prone area, but now it's happening very frequently. So being highway, we decided to call the Ghana Highway Authority. They came around and the information we give for them is that they will be doing it from here to Georgia. We see that they have started with that of Georgia stretch. So we are waiting for them. Unfortunately, this thing happened again. So we are now looking for a temporary measure to get this big roof who they are waiting for the contractor to come to site.
As we speak, they are on the road again blocking the stretch.
I believe the best thing we're going to do is to appeal to them for comment while we are waiting on this one.
Immediately, what are you going to do?
You appeal to them.
You appeal for them, only that.
Yes.
And if they don't accept, what happens?
Well, they have to accept because if they don't accept, they cannot be there while we will be doing the construction. They must necessarily have to leave. So we only appeal to them.
Okay.
3 families of the murdered Takoradi girls are demanding the 2 convicts are executed live on live TV. Speaking to Joy News after a news conference held Monday, sister of Ruth Love Kwesing and father of Priscilla Blessing Bentum said even though they don't accept that their relatives are dead, they would appreciate the public execution of Samuel Udotek Wills and John Orji, since Udotek in particular once managed to escape lawful custody.
Something. The same, I would say, a similar issue happened in the Bible with Joseph when the brothers sold him out, and they later told my mother that Joseph is there, but see what happened. So nothing is impossible for our God. But we know that with we human beings, we think that the case has been, but with God, it's never delayed. So we still have a belief and hope that one day our girls will come back.
You are making some demands.
Yeah, because we were here when the first suspect, Samuel, was in the police custody in the Takoradi Central Police Station, and we heard of his escape. So now that they are telling us that they have sentenced them to death, we want the death sentence to be live on TV so that everyone will witness that these guys have been killed. We don't want it to be a situation that they will be in the police custody and later hearing that they've been escaped. But this won't be the first time. Yeah, so that's why we are saying that if truly they say the girls are dead and they've sentenced the guys to life in prison or death, then they should be live for us to see that truly Samuel Wills and the so-called John are dead.
If really they believe that the DNA test conducted are really the girls, then they should give them a befitting burial. This is what I say.
Okay. But what you are saying contradicts the position of the family members. They are saying that their children are not dead. So once they are not dead, it means that they are there. It means that asking for a burial means that it's an acceptance that we won't see one.
I'm still standing on my feet on what I'm saying, that if the police think that the DNA conducted are that of the girls, then they should give them a befitting burial, a befitting funeral. Is it a funeral? Yes, a funeral. Befitting funeral. If they really think that the girls are dead, the DNA test conducted are really the girls, and they think that they are dead, the state should give them a befitting funeral.
No corner. I've been on Kofra and was today when Kofra again them of family. Mamitua, I am about Mamitua Nasam. What kind of he said to you, awesome for a company team. Let's say, you know, Obacadam from an Uwa. Natural one of what no Google. Debende kasawa dukwan na abofo no nyambugum ntayende sabana akare mafoma wake na paso ku nkofunda ne sabana so pede anya abata ne didi de oyeno kwade mafoma nkofunda ku nkofunda abane yin nkofunda bi gina ho no nkoma na abata no yihu ansana senya abane ko beje da ya dedi na ndem da no kanade tumi de anano no anya age.
Watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break, but still ahead in the bulletin. Attorney General takes aim at public officials who frustrate his work and cost the state judgment debts.
The Attorney General should be able to actually sue any officer in any department or ministry or agency who is responsible for judgment debt caused as a result of a failure to cooperate with the Office of Attorney General.
Stay tuned in, we'll be back in a bit. The economies of some West African countries along the Gulf of Guinea, such as Ghana, face serious threats from the increasing incidence of piracy. According to the Director of Faculty Affairs and Academic Research at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Professor Kwesi Enning, kidnappings and robberies are of particular concern. Speaking during the opening ceremony of a maritime security court at the City Escape Hotel in Pram Pram, he stated a more activist approach is needed to fight piracy. According to the International Maritime Bureau 2020 report, out of 135 persons kidnapped from their vessels in 2020, 130 were from the Gulf of Guinea waters.
No, the situation is getting worse and it will get much worse. Sanctions simply don't work. Who are we sanctioning? And once more, let me come back to my earlier point. Because there is support and understanding from people on land that when the goods are stolen, the oil, the gas, the sardines, whatever, that it's much cheaper than what we get out there. That there's a certain societal acceptability and sympathy. Okay, so what this course is trying to do is to say, look, if these criminal activities continue, we all pay the price. Because the ships will be expensively insured, the goods will be even more expensively insured. The ships will have to move at a faster speed. That means more oil and gas. All those cost factors will be transferred to those of us who are buying their goods. So the real question is, how do we, together with the Navy, the armed forces, collaborate, and also the harbor officials, collaborate for a better understanding and better response strategies? Okay, so we need to craft a language where the conclusions that we arrive at are sent to the larger public so they understand. Sympathizing and just talking about piracy does not help. We need a more interventionist, activist approach. And when people understand that the sardine that you buy for 3 cedis today, if we don't do anything about it, next year you buy it at 4 cedis, 50 pesos. Because they've added the insurance to it. They've added the cost of the petrol. They've added the protection of the lives of the sailors to it. Piracy affects all of us.
Commandant of the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center, Major General Francis Ofori, says the best way to deal with the security challenge is for countries to form partnerships.
Indicated that IMB referred to 15 countries in Gulf of Guinea, in which there were attacks in the last 3 years, which means that virtually all the countries. It doesn't mean they are not doing enough. You see, it happens that most of the time, the good things they do to prevent maritime insecurity are not brought to the fore. It's only when Mozart, a shipping line, container shipping ship is attacked, that it becomes news, or it receives attention in the headlines. And so a lot is being done. Let me cite an instance in 2018, when the Ghana Navy, for instance, came across oil bunkering near the border with Cote d'Ivoire. You know, information was sent from our Maritime Coordinating Center in Accra to the Ivorian counterparts, and they managed to intercept that vessel. So information sharing is going on, but the fact that insecurity is on the ascendancy, it requires much more collaboration to be able to get around the pirates. Armed robbery assist take place within the territorial waters, 12 nautical miles territorial waters up to the contiguous zone, which is also 24 nautical miles from there. And then beyond there to the EEZ is 200 nautical miles. In the high seas, you have piracy. But gradually, instead of piracy for bunkering or bunkering is increasingly turning to kidnapping. You know, that is what used to be the case in Somalia. They're kidnapping for ransom, the pirates. And ours, they were attacking for oil and then bunkering. But increasingly, we are seeing a shift from, oil, focus on oil to kidnapping. I am sure the glut or the oil prices on the market is discouraging, and therefore they need to shift because they must stay in business.
You're watching Joy News Prime. We're taking a break. Up ahead in business, businesses react to tax rebates announced in the 2021 budget. They have a common message. They say it's not enough.
If any hotel is able to make profit in 2020, 2021, or even 2022, it must be a miracle.
Stay tuned in. We'll be back in a bit. Good evening to you. It's time for business. I'm Charles Ait, and our businesses are reacting to the 2021 budget, largely disappointed about the introduction of some new taxes. Although the government introduced some tax waivers, they say that is not enough to make them recover the shocks of COVID-19. First, let's hear from the thoughts of the president of the Ghana Hotels Association, which was among the worst hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. Edward Akanyamike has been detailing to us the reasons why he feels these tax waivers are not enough.
The only relief in this budget that appears significant to the industry is a 30% rebate on income tax. But our point is that that rebate is of no use to the hotel industry this stage of the pandemic. Now, the point is that we started pushing for distress relief package right at the beginning of the pandemic, which by and large we didn't really receive much. So we were hoping that this, after surviving the pandemic for almost a year, and with government going to read the budget for 2021, we're hoping that this budget will address the challenges that we faced in 2020 with regards to the stimulus package. But unfortunately, the only thing, like I said, which is significant in this budget is the 30% rebate. But the point is that if any hotel is able to make profit in 2020, 2021, or even 2022, it must be a miracle.
Well, so what exactly were the tax reliefs about? Of course, it includes a rebate of 30% on the income tax due for companies such as hotels and restaurants, businesses in education, arts and entertainment, and travel and tours for the second, third, and fourth quarters of this year. There's also been the suspension of quarterly income tax payments for the second, third, and fourth quarters of this year for small businesses using the income tax stamp system.
President of the Chamber of Entrepreneurs, Sheriff Gali, says the government could have done more.
Yes, as an entrepreneur, I would say that it's just one of the budgets we've had, not that too positive. Yes, I must say. But then I would have wished that I would see a more very courageous budget. Why do I say so? We are not in normal times. And now introducing indirect taxes that will go down to affect the citizens of the country will inevitably make things a bit difficult for entrepreneurs. However, I am also happy in one area with respect to the fact that there have been some rebates. That tells you that the government of the day thinks about entrepreneurs. So if you go to the hospitality industry, there have been some rebate. If you go to the transport and tourism, there have been some few other adjustments done there for them. Yeah, so to me, it is more or less an ordinary budget. I didn't actually expect a lot of things on this budget, to be honest, because I know we are not in normal times. I knew for sure the government of the day will increase a lot of taxes that will go a long way to be able to augment some of the things that the country is facing. So it was not to me as a surprise when I saw the COVID-19 levy, the sanitation and pollution and all those things. So yes, it's a normal one in a way to have a direct effect on the business.
Well, meanwhile, private sector businesses will converge to discuss what the new tax measures in the 2021 budget means for them in terms of recovery and competitiveness. Clement Osei-Amoako is president of the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry, organizers of this seminar.
We have a tax regime when we are with the government, the economy is not doing well. And you saw the GDP growth for last year was not encouraging because of the COVID. We expect that most of the tax should have not been contractionary, but that the government would have opened up a lot of, giving a lot of tax waivers. But the government also needs to spend on some key products and services that we cannot, all that he depends on will be the tax revenue that he gets. And so we are not too much bothered with the tax that have been levied on, but on some specific ones that probably we would want to talk about.
All right.
We also want to look at how the government is going to spend its money. As individuals, and for that matter, a private sector, when we look at the spending of the government, it will help us also to adjust ourselves into some of the areas that are opportune. So we are looking at both ones. And we also look at the monetary policy that has to come in with the central bank.
All right.
What the central bank is also doing to augment the government efforts for the budget for this year.
And that's how we end business for this edition. Sports is coming up next. Do stay.
Thank you for staying with us on Joy News Prime. I'm Gary L. Smith and this is The Sport. Today, Ben Nunu Mensah has been re-elected to be president of the Ghana Olympic Committee for another 4 years. He was the incumbent and he polled 35 votes, 7 more than his opponent, Richard Akpokave. Now, Mr. Nunu Mensah says he's committed to ensuring successful participation of Ghana in the 2021 Olympic Games.
And faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
to
which I am about to enter.
So
help me God.
History has just been made, and it has been described as a tsunami by the incumbent Ben Nunu Mensah, whom delegates have given the mandate to steer the affairs of the Ghana Olympic Committee for the next 4 years.
First thing we need to work on, like I said, we've already wasted a lot of time on elections, on an election whose results wouldn't have changed if we had it today, if we had it before the Tokyo Games or after the Tokyo, it would have been the same. It would have been just like the tsunami that you've just seen. So with that in mind, with all the time that we wasted, I think that we need to get back quickly. I need to get the Tokyo team to start working from tomorrow. There's so much sponsorship that we need to get out there and raise, and that is what is going to determine how well we do at the games.
The gentleman who contested Ben Nunu Mensah in these elections is his Secretary General, Richard Akpokave. They had worked together for the last 4 years. Questions have been raised why Richard Akpokave was contesting a man he was working with
as one of the leaders of the Ghana Olympic Committee. But he tells Joy Sports his decision to contest is about his aspirations and believing that he can do a better job when he's given the mandate to steer the affairs of the Ghana Olympic Committee.
The GOC has been helping 4 years in office. I believed, and I still believe, that I can do things better to ensure that sports is developed better. That is the only reason why I stood for the election. And I think that having been there for 8 years, aspiring to be the president to do better, it's natural. It's a natural progression. Ordinarily, that's what I should do, because otherwise, what should I be doing?
It is another Olympic year. It is another Ghana Olympic Committee elections. However, the focus is on how Ghana will prepare for the Olympic Games come 2021. For the Games are just few months away. From the College of Science and Technology for Joy Sports, I am Muftar Nabila Abdullahi.
Summarizes the event nicely. So best wishes to Ben Nuno Mensah and his team in the next 4 years. Also at the ground at the Academy of Arts and Sciences was the Minister of Youth and Sports, Mustafa Usif. Now he says the success of the Olympic Committee will have a ripple effect on sport and has called on the committee to collaborate with the government to develop the sector.
The GOC, being an important stakeholder and ally in the promotion and development of sports in the country, government is keen in seeing the progress of the GOC, as its success or otherwise will have direct impact on our country's sports development vision and international image. As the National Olympic Committee of our great country, with a mandate to promote and facilitate our country participation in Olympic Games and other competitions such as the Commonwealth Games, government is even more determined for greater collaboration with the GOC and other federations to ensure successful realization of the objective mentioned earlier. Whatever we do as a government, GOC, Association of Federation, the ultimate objective for all of us is to develop our sports and represent our dear country well at international competition, especially the Olympic Games, Commonwealth, and African Games. Nations are already preparing for the rescheduled Tokyo Olympics, and in 2023, our country, Ghana, our dear country, will host the African Games. These competitions are special and important for all stakeholders to come together and to ensure that we take the needed steps to reach the desired height of our country in all aspects, preparation, organization, and participation.
Mustafa Usif is the recently appointed sports minister. He ends the sport here on Joy News Prime for today. Thank you for your time. I'm Gary L. Smith.
Right, it's time for Showbiz, and Becky Bex is here. Hello, Bex.
Hello to you. How are you doing?
I am well, and the whole of the continent is celebrating Burna Boy's
and Wizkid.
win at Grammy.
Yeah, and Wizkid.
Yeah.
And because of the celebration, a lot of things have come up. So we forgot about the message that Burna Boy, was trying to put across.
Okay.
He said, quote, he's dedicating the awards to every African. And there's something else that he said. Let's listen to him.
Patapaa also did.
Yeah, he said you guys shouldn't worry because he will bring the Grammy soon. Patapaa said it. So the video came out, obviously, to congratulate his, colleague.
Kinsman, yeah. Whichever way you look at it, this is a victory for Nigeria, for the culture, and for my people. Congrats to our winners. Tule Naija.
So that's Patapaa. He said, one day I will bring the Grammys home.
I'll make Ghana proud. Thank you very much.
Yes, and I support that. Kitty says, being inspired.
Yeah.
Congrats to Burna Boy, Wizkid, and Tiwa. Apparently, Tiwa also had something from there.
Okay.
Then one guy, Stonebwoy, came in with all due respect, let's all other African nations gave it up for Nigeria for their constant efforts to holding the mantle of for Africa when it comes to entertainment on the global scene. Congrats for holding it down. As for my country, he said something.
At the Grammys. Okay, so then he started, well, he said that.
And then Samini came in.
It says, Ghana will be okay if we begin to keep it 100% with each other as artists, my G. It starts, Ghana will be okay if we begin to keep it 100 with each other as artists, my G. It starts from being honest and calling a spade a spade. Do you think they disrespect Idebia like you disrespect Samini? Hashtag Year of Truth. Before you give extra fake funds to Nigeria, check yourself, faker. Oh!
Yes, please.
So he says extra fake funds, and then he comes and calls him a faker.
Yeah, so this back and forth, I mean, that's how it started. So Stonebwoy came back. David, if we have that, Stonebwoy and Samini. So Stonebwoy came back.
Yeah, he said something not so antagonistic. He replied calmly.
Yeah, he just said that we can't. I mean, he just finished a beef with Shatta Wale on social media.
Let's not do this.
We know ourselves. Yeah. Let's just take this out from social media. And then Samini came somehow.
So he says, no disrespect. He just finished a Twitter beef with Shatta. Is it my turn now? We know each other personally. I cannot do this with you on social media. And then Samini replies.
Yes.
And says, oh, well, retweets and with a quote, shaking my head, Stonebwoy law. You know you can't throw dust in no one eyes, my son. You know exactly where I'm coming from. Don't trash GH in congratulating Nigeria because they don't disrespect their legends like you do, period. A word to the wise.
And they've been trending since morning.
Okay, so apparently you know where this is all coming.
Yeah, well, according to...
so Samini is not happy with Stonebwoy for
Stonebwoy because he called him a sellout on one Asase clash that happened, I think just last year. Wasn't, you know, too long ago, and you know they've been going back and forth. Samini actually at a point also came out to say, you know, a lot of things. Easy, I really see these musicians.
These guys have been cool together.
Okay, let's watch this video. Let me tell you something about this video. This was in 2018.
We are get by accident, we are lose by lightning. We are the same motorway. We are the fill of the place, we do our same way. We are the same motorway. We are going to invite no disrespect for the highway. We are the same motorway.
The same way. What could be the problem between these two? This was 2018. Yeah. Ashaman to the World. And Samini has always been on the Ashaman to the World. I think even the last one. Before this.
Yeah, I know they've been cool together.
Yeah.
I mean...
My problem is easy. I can't tell you what exactly it is because at the end of the day, one person will come out and tell us that, it's just for the, you know, the music business. We are just doing this because of the music business. So there's more to it. Nobody's talking. They are the same people who the industry revolves around. So they have to be, you know, having conversations with us. But Shatta Wale, you know, on the other side, he had a live moment today, and he's been reacting to, you know, the Burna Boy, and he is saying that Easy.
But he had some tiff with Burna Boy at some point.
Yes, so he didn't want to comment. But Kojo Sheldon, a YouTuber, you know, says something about the Ghana music industry being, you know, he mentioned that their songs are whack and all the reason why they can't get to the Grammys. And he has so many things to say.
Okay, all right.
Why are you laughing?
That's okay, all right.
I was making a point, though.
Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. Thank you very much for bringing us Showbiz Becky Bex.
I think we'll continue this conversation.
Yeah, we will. People. Okay. That'll be it for those of you who are watching on Joy Prime. Before we go, though, let's take a quick look at our headlines by joyonline.com. And Bedun Kansa apologizes for offensive of textbooks. We had that. on the news. And then Okujo Ablakwa requests education ministers to explain offensive of textbooks in Parliament. And teenager on verge of losing finger after wearing friend's Sakawa ring. Well, you can get to my Joy Online and get to read more of that. That's it. There's more news on the Joy News channel. Do stay tuned. Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah-Adame has served notice he will take action against public officials who delay in providing information to his office to enable it put up a defense in court. Mr. Adame says the state sometimes incurs judgment debt due to such delays. This was his response to a demand by senior justices of Ghana Supreme Court that he ensures that his attorneys pay attention to cases that come to the apex court. Court correspondent Joseph Akable has a wrap of the meeting between the AG and senior justices of Ghana Supreme Court.
Delaying trials and having junior attorneys defend the state at the apex court was of concern to the justices of the Supreme Court.
The constitutional cases. Please, as I said, the Supreme Court is the final court. And when constitutional cases are filed, we don't want a situation where almost invariably the AG's office will come for extension of time and whatever. And in 99% of the cases, we indulge the office because the constitutional cases are meant for all of us. Yes, and the fundamental law of the land may be an issue. It could be enforcement or interpretation or whatever, but we think that when these cases come, it should attract the necessary attention. In fact, you were very active at the Supreme Court, and yes, almost invariably when you were coming, you put in your maximum effort, but your best may not be enough. So it is a passionate plea to you, and my brothers have expressed serious concern.
And so we want you to be quite effective in justice delivery. Justice delayed, they say, is justice denied.
On the issue of service, there is always a problem with service to your outfit. We find situations where there is proof of service, all right, but there's a problem about who was served, and that a schedule officer has not even gotten the process. So you have to take a critical look at that one, so that whether you revamp because people who come to serve you are directed to a particular office to go and approve service. But while they direct the service there, whatever happens again is administrative.
We expect the representation from the Attorney General's office to be either a chief state attorney or principal, at least, yes, to bring the experience to bear.
Attorney General and Minister for Justice Godfrey Yeboah-Adame assured he would deal with the matter and take action against public officials who do not assist his office to defend the interests of the state.
I think that apart from the suggestion by my Lord that I should try and impress upon His Excellency the President to enforce the directive for all agencies of state to deliver comment on cases delivered by the Attorney General, I would even go to the extent of saying that the Attorney General should be able to actually sue any officer in any department or ministry or agency who is responsible for judgment debt caused as a result of a failure to cooperate with the Office of the Attorney General to properly defend an action against the state.
He pleaded with the justices of the Supreme Court to allow some junior lawyers appear before it, saying his office does not have adequate staff.
I think the fundamental issue, which really we cannot turn a blind eye to, is the inadequate staffing of the office. So I actually pleaded with my Lord in chambers to ensure that if I may say directive, should also in fact, you should rope in principal state attorneys into it, because we to require chief state attorneys to defend cases before the Supreme Court will be virtually impossible, and to grind the conduct of our cases to a halt.
Mr. Dami says this interaction with the Justice of the Supreme Court will be a regular feature as part of efforts to strengthen the administration of justice.
Former Vice-Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Ivan Addae-Mensah, has expressed sadness at the level of corruption in the country, together with a perception of same. According to the academic and one-time politician, he gets very sad, especially when contemplating the fact that those charged with fighting corruption don't appear to have the support of the powers that be. Here he is speaking further on that subject.
Now, I get very sad, especially when you see that people who are attempting to fight the canker don't appear to, the perception is that they don't appear to have the support of the powers that be. I may be wrong, but I think that is the general perception among a lot of people in the country, that if you are seen to be someone who wants to fight corruption, then be careful you don't step on anybody's toes.
He did not mince words about what he believed was the ill treatment of the immediate past Attorney Auditor General Daniel Yao Domelevo, making clear that as far as he is concerned, the grounds on which he was removed leaves a lot to be desired, especially when he was not given the opportunity to publicly defend himself.
What worries me is the grounds upon which he was eventually made to step aside, being told to go on a very long leave, his nationality being questioned, his age being brought into question, not having the chance to publicly, give his side of the story, and then going on retirement. We all know what the situation with age in this country is concerned. Those of us who were lucky to have educated parents were lucky enough to have our births recorded by our parents properly. So we grew up knowing our age, and they were synchronous with the day on which we were born. If you were Kwame and you were born on 10th January 1942, you go to the internet and you will find that they synchronize. A lot of people are running around this country whose perceived birthdays don't synchronize with their days of birth.
Names and all that.
Yeah, there are a lot of them. So it's just a question of tracing back. Government knows best. There are things that they know that I may not know. So I will not venture to say much about it, but the perception in the public in general is that fighting corruption is not being done with candor.
Hello, good evening and welcome to Business once again. I'm Charles Aite. Now, freight forwarders at the Tema and Takoradi Port are calling for some clarity when it comes to the new tax regime the government has introduced in the 2021 budget. Let's listen to the president of the Freight Forwarders Institute.
And speak to some things. I've seen some increases, like there was going to be an increase in the NHIS, but the reasoning behind it is for COVID relief. Of course, we know that a whole lot has happened since last year because of the COVID, and government had to also take up some things, water, electricity, all those things we've gained. Somehow, somebody has to pay for it. So you agree to a point that the increase is slight and it's going to help, the COVID relief. So be it. I mean, hoping that to a point, then these things will be taken care of if we kind of recoup, what has been lost. then that should be so. Bank charges, okay, that is also going against, what has been lost in the banking sector, So somebody has to pay for it again. But then also we're saying that if, those who were involved in that, there could be somehow they have to cede some of the money back to the state. You figure that the state has to find a way to also recover some of the monies, because at the end of the day, the banks are going to hit us with those charges. Before you know, you have bits and pieces put up on your, even to collect your checkbooks or your card, the usage of the card at the ATMs and all that. So we think some recovery has to be done, to save us the trouble. The difficulty is how you determine that the bank has even put the charge on. Okay, so because you're dealing with the banks, in any case, if you go there today, we're now collecting maybe another 5 pesos on, your checkbooks, your checking accounts, or we're collecting another 10 pesos on your card accounts. It is very difficult for you to figure out or determine that this is how, because I don't think they're going to tell you that we're charging you this because of the 5%, or 20% levy that has been put on us. So it's going to be very difficult to determine that.
Now, the Ghana Association of Bankers says that the new levies on their earnings before tax payment is misplaced. Government is introducing a financial sector cleanup levy of 5% on profit before tax. This is to help draw outstanding commitments in the banking sector. But according to the association, this levy is counterproductive and can affect the ability of banks to attract the needed capital in the post-COVID-19 recovery process of the economy. Now, the Finance Ministry is downplaying any negative impact of fresh taxes on petroleum products on the economy. Government, government in the 2021 budget is introducing 2 new taxes on fuel. Now, there are fears that this may destabilize the economy. As a result, expected inflation hikes and, of course, the rise in the cost of living. Let's listen to the government representative at the Finance Ministry, Charles Eduboahen.
We really had a big debate in 2018, I believe, when we were looking at increasing the road levy, right? The road fund levy, and the road fund levy is a direct petroleum tax like this. And there were concerns at the time that it might lead to transportation price increases and inflation and so on. So that didn't happen. It got absorbed into the system because, in fact, one of the key drivers of increase in petrol prices at the pump has been the bad management of the city, because there's a huge component of the price at the pump that is embedded in the city depreciation, because you buy your crude products in hard currency, you bring it in and you sell in cedis. So any depreciation in the currency is passed on to the consumer in a deregulated market. Since we've managed to keep the cedi so stable, we have enjoyed some of the lowest crude prices or prices at the pump over the last 3-4 years. So depending on how astutely you manage the economy, you are able to add on a few pesos onto the price of crude of fuel at the pump, and still will not have that ripple effect in the economy because your exchange rate is stable, inflation is down. So those are some of the factors we look at. Secondly, last year, we enjoyed some of the best prices at the pump because crude prices went down. COVID hit crude bad. I remember at some point it went down to almost $30 a barrel. Yes, now it's back up to 60, 64, 63, but it's still really lower than where it was back in 2019.
And that'll be it for business. My name is Charles Aite.
All right, and that'll be it for the bulletin for this evening. I'm Israel. Thank you very much for watching. Up next, we bring you a Hotline documentary.